I had orders to Quantico Sniper School right after the invasion, and kind of the only sticking point there was, 1-5 obviously was going to turn right around and do Fallujah,
Yeah.
and that was a real kind of fork in the road for me, right? I didn't have, from my perspective, I was kind of getting conflicting word, right? I had career staff NCOs saying, "Hey, take your orders, don't quote unquote chase something that's not
Right.
guaranteed,"
Right.
because who wasn't itching to go back, right? Most people were, and it was a quick turnaround if I remember right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like seven
But I
months. I
ended
think they were back in country. Yeah.
so pretty short.
Yeah.
And so I made the choice to take the orders to Quantico, which ended up being one of the pinnacle or high water marks of my time in the Marine Corps, and teaching there for the better part of 3 or 4 years. And it was a fantastic spot for not only personal growth as an individual operator and as a sniper, but a lot of exposure to kind of opening up my aperture as far as what's possible, in the federal government outside of the
Right.
big green
Right.
machine, as we
Right.
call it.
Right.
So I attribute my time there to, it was a good choice.
Yeah.
As much as I would like to have been with the guys in Fallujah, you make your choices and you live with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. And then from there, you did a lot of different things, contracting, a lot of instructing, teaching at a very high level. And through all of that, I mean, you can call out any highlights of that time. Certainly, it was a long time, but through that time, you're married, you've got kids, you're doing something that most people don't do while also maintaining a family and a personal life. And you did. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think so often we talk about the pitfalls and the dangers, and it's very, very hard, very hard. Um, but there is a way to navigate it, and it's not without its difficulties, it's not without its challenges, but it's possible. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I can, and I can start off by saying I didn't do it well.
Hmm.
you know um and I think that's an important message to the listeners, or the guys out there that are going through it right now. um Man, if I could do it over again,
Sure,
right?
sure.
I fell into the pitfall that's common, that everything else kind of got put on the back
Right.
burner. And I have, shout out to my wife. Jen and I have been married. She's also a Marine of
Yeah.
14 years. We've been married for going on 25, I think. Yeah, 25. We just
Yeah.
celebrated our
It's
25th
awesome.
anniversary.
Awesome.
And thank you. uh, all the kudos go to her, because I was putting almost no effort into it.
Mm.
Everything I was trying to achieve, very selfish, very self centered. And because you're kind of, the mindset in those environments is, it comes
Yeah.
first, mission, job. And that's a necessity, but there is a way to find balance and do it well. I almost think, me personally, obviously, I had to do it the wrong way so I could figure out how to do it the right way, and have spent the last, I would say, 5 or 6 years, trying to do it the right way, because I did it the wrong way for so
Mm.
long. Um, you have two families,
Yeah.
right? And you
Yeah.
you spend more time with your Marine Corps family, your team, whether it's, when I was overseas contracting, it was 3 months on, 1 month off. And so it's easy to see how, even that 30-day time period for the better course of 4 or 5 years, a lot of balls get
Right.
dropped.
Right.
I made a ton of mistakes, and it just, it takes a recentering and a refocusing, to realize, what's your priorities,
Yep.
right? And once you figure out what those priorities are, which is, family,
Yeah.
loved ones, friends, you just got to re-zero yourself, and kind of reprioritize those targets,
That's
those
good.
priorities.
So the moral of the story is marry well and you'll be okay. Is that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
the
yeah. Find the right one,
yeah,
right? I lucked out. I struck gold right off the bat. Yeah, she's fantastic, and having her be dual service
yeah, it helps.
obviously aided a lot. I think had we not been dual service, we might be having a different conversation.
Yeah.
But she's yeah, all the kudos kind of go to her. I made every mistake you could.
Yeah. I made a lot of mistakes coming home too, and I wasn't in for a long time, but even just trying to figure out who am I on the other side of this. And it's so clear when you're doing the work that you know how to do in the military, right? It makes sense. And then you come home, you're trying to figure things out. But one of the things I've said often is your family gets it if you have to be away. They understand that comes with the territory. What they don't get is when you're home and you're away, right?
Correct.
If you're home, be home because you can operate at a high level when you're away, but you need to operate at that same high level when you're home. And that's, man, that's a hard balance to strike. You just have a hard time turning it off and uh, somehow going to, soccer games and school stuff and whatever. It just doesn't seem that important because of what you've been doing, but it's super important to your family.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, it's very, very difficult. And that's why conversations like these are so important because I think the more that guys and gals hear it that have either are our age and have experienced it and are still trying to find that balance and find that correct calibration, but more importantly the people that the younger generation that are inevitably going to go through the same things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's but the balance is paramount because if you hit that skinny pedal on the right, like I feel like I did for as long as I did, eventually you're going to run out of gas or hit
Mm-hmm.
a brick wall, right? It's inevitable, So let's learn how to throttle back a
Yeah.
little bit, and apply proper pressure when needed
That's
in the
good.
appropriate places.
That's good. The one of the things that helps, service members or transitioning service members, wherever you find yourself on that kind of continuum, or is having the right people around, having people that get you, that understand, and knowing a little bit of your family story. I know you have a brother, right? That was a Marine.
Yeah, brother and sister, both Marines.
Okay, and a wife who is as well and understands that. How important has it been to you to have an extended family that gets it? Like you can just say stupid stuff and talk about what you're dealing with, whether you do or not. I don't know if you do with them, but just to have people around you that you can be yourself and not have to, pretend that things are okay all the time.
Oh, sure. It's a yeah, with the extended family, with the my dad, all the uncles, tons of predominantly Marines. It's a constant conversation, and my brother and sister both did two tours
Mm.
after you and I
Wow.
our time frame, and my wife, her brother, we had a KIA in the family, unfortunately.
Wow.
And he was a Marine in Afghanistan. So yeah, it's a common conversation. We have that kind of baked in support structure to where at any given time and place, you've got somebody that you can talk it out if you need to, right? And our family, we do a good job of having kind of a positive reflection,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
focusing on the positive. Like I look at our time, and I think my family shares it. Like, yes, there were obviously some bad times, but the experience was one of growth,
Mm.
right? The experience was one that I look back with in a positive way. I'm thankful for the time that I spent, right? And I'm thankful for the bad times too,
Yeah.
because you can't appreciate the good
Yeah.
times without kind of the suffering, right? And so it's paramount, right? It's paramount to have that, and surrounding us, being surrounded, we a very tight knit family. It's been very beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for a lot of people like you and me, or people that serve for a long time, particularly, they leave that environment and they don't have anyone, and you just get tired of trying to explain yourself to people, and there's a certain sense of shame that comes with how you feel. There shouldn't be, but there is, and how do I articulate to that to people around me? If you don't have the right community around you, then man, you can't transition from one thing to the next. You hit a wall and you just kind of get stuck there. And
Mhm.
one thing watching kind of your trajectory is that you've been able to move from one thing to the next, and kind of transition through these different things to now leading a company. And that doesn't happen alone. You have to have the right people in your life to help you get there.
Yeah, it's not taking no for an answer, and basically, it, I try and tell guys, right, like it's you want to get hit in the mouth on a daily basis,
Yeah.
step outside of your comfort zone and try
Right.
something new,
Right.
right? So if anything, it's going to teach you resilience. But what I think, and I was having extensive conversations with a teammate last night about this, is you have these individuals that have been put through uh, kind of the test of all tests, right? They've been through and been successful.
Mm.
Not without failure, but the majority of people have been successful. They wouldn't be Marines. They wouldn't be where
Yep.
they
Yep.
are today. There is zero reason why those you're not going to be successful in anything that you apply yourself.
Sure. Yeah.
And to just keep that on the forefront of your kind of brain housing group, like it's not you're going to be without failure. It's that if you don't stop, you will be successful.
Yeah.
You just have to keep pushing.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. Don't take no for an answer. That's great.